banks basically, if they're trying to give a loan to the farmer, they want to understand the risk on that farm. And with all the other product which we have called Smart Risk, which has a capability to detect the risk on the farm. Not only that, but it can also go into the past 3 years and tell the banker that on this farm these crops were grown. This is the economic value of those crops. This how whether it was healthy or not. How was the water stress, and prepare the complete risk report for that particular asset. And based on that, they do the underwriting.
This is Siddharth Alwalia. Welcome to the 100x Entrepreneur Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Prime Venture Partners, an early stage VC fund led by Amit Somani, Shripati Acharya, and Sanjay Swami. Prime is often the first institutional investor in category creating tech startups in fintech, SaaS, healthcare, and education, such as MyGate, Quizzes, MFine. To know more about Prime, visit primevp.in. Today we have with us Krishna Kumar, founder and CEO CropIn. Krishna founded CropIn in 2010 along with Kunal Prasad. CropIn is a SaaS-based service provider for agribusinesses. It enables data-driven farming through Smart Farm platform, which helps derive real-time insight on standing crop and projects across geographies based on local weather information and high-resolution satellite imagery. Welcome, Krishna, to the podcast.
Thanks, Siddharth.
Krishna, I would love to know about your journey, why you started CropIn and how has the last 10 years been? When nobody knew about agri-tech business, what's the term agri-tech? You built an agri-tech business at that point in time in India. What are your purpose of starting it, right? How has the first most tough years been and now when you are scaling up?
Sure. So, I come from GE. So, my GE was my first job. That's General Electric. I joined their Indian Innovation Center and then later moved into their leadership program called IMLP then. Rotated in multiple businesses, starting from GE Appliances, then moved to GE Industrial, and then to GE Energy. Now, while I was in the job, I always wanted to build something which has a larger impact on the society on the planet, and I was always in a discovery mode. I did a lot of study on different sectors, and I found agriculture to be, more suited for our venture. And this decision was mostly EQ based than the IQ based. We saw a big problem, and we know this is real and somebody has to solve it, right? And I was reading about the plight of the farmers, smallholder farmers, who doesn't have a support. Their crop fails, they get into trap of money lenders. Sometimes the price of their crop is less than the less than a cent. And when you buy those same crops or fruits and vegetables in the market, you pay more than that, right? Multiple of 40 or multiple of 100 times the price. And when I looked around, I felt, this is cut off from the mainstream, and we don't see a lot of technology which comes in the support of agriculture. And that was the thought. you know I mean, we started with, can we make this industry more data driven and democratize the data for all the key stakeholder in this value chain. And that's the concept of smart farm came in. And in 2010, in the mid of the year, I left the job and started conceptualizing CropIn. And by the way, I didn't have any plan. I just left the job without any having a proper business plan or Excel sheet at how this business is going to shape up. And
Were you interacting with farmers at that point in time, like real time in fields or uh, so?
not in the time I was in the GE. When I left the job, I started interacting with the real ecosystem guys, the businesses who are into agriculture, the farmers. Visited most part of the India, interacted with the farmers, tried to understand their problem statements. Right? Yeah. So we did that all post, putting up the paper, leaving the company, and wanted to really get started. Prior to that, most of the knowledge which I gathered was through reading.
Got it. And once you started, how do you pick the problem? Because agri-tech is one of the largest GDP contributors. How did you pick up what problem did you want to solve in this domain?
Yeah, so going by my past experience in GE also, data was the key, right? So we worked on Six Sigma, Lean Six Sigma, trying to make the process efficient, make it more profitable, right? Uh, when I looked at the farm, I feel the same, right? Every farm is a factory which is producing something, but can we make it traceable, predictable, and sustainable? Right? So these are three principal questions we asked, and and can we connect them to the mainstream, right? With the whole ecosystem which works around these farms. So the idea was, can we remove the gut based farming to a decision based farming, right? With enabling with the data, and for that you needed a platform which is very which can connect the farms and other players like bank, insurance companies, food processors, uh, uh, and they can do a connected farming, right? So that was the problem we picked, because the you know we call it as a dark data. So nobody knows about the farms, there's no information about it. And until you have information, how do you go and reach out to these 500 million smallholder farmers and bring a help to their doorstep? So we know that we have to solve this digitally, and we chose the problem, of building the smart farm in 2010. And at that point of time, agritech was not a buzzword. We didn't know what agritech is, but we were the first company globally to talk about data-driven farming. In US and Europe, also, many startups has come up, but they came after 2012.
And Krishna, how did you build about choosing your co-founder and then the first founding team at CropIn?
Yeah, so me and Kunal goes back in the school days, right? So we come from Hazaribagh, which is a hilly area, part of Jharkhand, and we did our schooling from Xavier's, and that's how I know Kunal from my childhood. Then Kunal, after his plus two, he did his mechanical engineering from PIT Mishra, and I did my electronics and instrumentation engineering from Ramaya. So that's how we know, and we always since we are friends, we always keep discussing some ideas, and that's how we formed this company. So when we had this idea, and we were very sure that let's solve this big problem, and we both jumped into it.
And who were the first founding team members in CropIn?
So me and Kunal, and there was one more friend who said he will come and join, but he never joined. Right. So actually, it was me and Kunal who founded the company.
Got it. And can you share about how did you onboarded your first customers at CropIn? Like, what are the challenges you faced because you were a very young startup at back then, and nobody was doing anything thing in related to technology in agriculture. So, how did you convince the farmers, the various stakeholders? Who were which geography did the first farmers belong to when you started?
Yeah, sure. I mean, this part really helped us because nobody knew about what is agri-tech and data in agriculture. So what I did
Yeah,
was, when I left the job, while we were thinking about the platform and product, I also started connecting with the very large players in the country who has been in agriculture for 100 years or 50 years, right? And started meeting their leadership to understand what are the challenges they are facing, and then we also presented what we intend to do, and there was the emotional connect, and they said,
yeah.
we are looking for this kind of solution for very long, but we never see any technology which has been built for this, right? And they started saying, happy to help you, or happy to give work on a POC. And initial days, nobody pays for the POCs, right? So that was another
Yeah.
catch. But we got a lot of support from the industry in terms of, because this they saw some new kind of people coming in agriculture. They always interacted with the farmers or the agriculture graduates. They never interacted with technology people, right? In that those days, nobody wants to come into agriculture, and they felt these guys are trying to something disrupt something, and they started giving us an idea that these are some of the challenges we face. For example, the traceability. How do we reach out to the farmer when he actually needs the help? How do we impact the quality and productivity at the farm gate? How do we bring down the losses, right? So there are key challenges they were facing. what is the how do we have a visibility on the real time throughout the season, so that if there is a problem, we can address it. How do we enable our people to get rid of the pen and paper and use platforms or apps to work with? So we got a lot of support in that case, because nobody was doing it, nobody was talking it, and here are two guys who wants to really do something. I remember our first project was with National Dairy Development Board. They have a subsidiary called Safal who does fruits and vegetable. I hope you have seen, the peas,
Yes,
frozen peas, right?
Safal stores are
So
very famous, and the peas are very famous.
yeah, so I met I think that the CIO of the company that time. So there was a person in NDDB. Got connected on the LinkedIn during my search. When should I go and talk? And he met me in Delhi office. He said, Krishna, we are into dairy, but we have got subsidiary, and going to connect you to the CEO of the company. Go and meet him and talk about this. I think he will be interested. So I met him. He called me in his room and he said, "Tell me what magic you guys are doing." And we explained, this is what we can do for you. And he said, "Okay, pick up a region, which region you want to work with, and happy to extend a POC, and go and talk to the general manager of that plant where all the procurement is happening." So we selected Bangalore, Karnataka, because we were
Yeah,
established here. Met the guy and explained him. He said, happy to give you opportunity, but will not pay you. You
yeah,
first show me in 3 months what you can do this season, and then we'll get into the engagement. So we did all the hard work. By the time we were trying to work with them, we built the platform also, because after 3 to 4 months you have to show it, right? So we launched the beta product, went to the farms, actually did the farm manager work. Uh, 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 we did it ourselves, and we built the platform, and we showcased him that how you can actually monitor every asset and impact the quality and productivity of it, right? And have a complete traceability, predictability, and ensure the sustainability of that farm. And we presented after 4 months. We logged in into a system which was SaaS based, and he was able to see all his farm plots, the progress, the risks, and other stuff. And they really liked it. But one of the questions they asked, that being a a semi government kind of a company, it's too early for us to adopt this kind of a technology, and we don't have a budget for
yeah,
this, right? Because
yeah,
at that time they didn't have the budget for the tech or a platform.
yeah.
So he said, you have to wait for this, and they gave us a good certificate, right? That we really did good
Okay.
job in their farm, and we were very happy with that. We didn't wanted the money, but it opened up a lot of doors for us. So we met the second customer, and these connections were making the helping us to connect with other enterprise clients. And the next client
Yeah.
was a paid client. It was a Feel Fresh, which was the I think it was a tie-up between Bharti and Airtel, Bharti and Del Monte that time, and we got first paycheck from them, right? And after that, we always decided that we will never do a free POC, and every client paid us. And actually, that funded our whole initial days when we didn't have the funding. Yeah.
So initially, it was just two of you who were even coding the platform, or you had developers who
Oh,
did
so we
build
had.
the platform.
So I think initial days, we had one developer from IIT Madras. So we were like
Yeah,
3 to 4 people who were just working, and one other friend who didn't join the company. While he was working the company, he was also giving his input on the platform. Right? So these are the
yeah.
3 4 people who were working, late nights and building that platform. Yeah, and I come from a tech background, right? So it was not a challenge.
So, so till the first product, you had paid customer for the first beta. You, it was just the four of you.
Four of us, and actually 2 people working from the office. Kunal was doing his MBA that time. So when I started the company,
Yeah,
he was the co-founder, but he was
yeah.
doing his MBA from Great Lakes, and the plan was once he gets his passing certificate, he'll come and do the full time. So me and the developer was the two guys who were building that. So I was doing the
And how
sales,
did you?
marketing, yeah, and the technology bit, all the three, a product manager. So we were playing all the hats. Yeah.
And how were you funding? Like from your own savings? Because it required a lot of travel and paying
No,
for
so
developer salary.
yeah, so I didn't have any saving. The only thing I
Yeah,
had was my PF and my last salary. But what
yeah,
I did was I wrote to all my friends that I'm going to do a startup in agriculture. I know I made
yeah,
friends. While I was in G, I made friends in all over the globe because I was part of
yeah,
the leadership program as well, and I had friends from my
yeah,
college who were placed well. So I wrote
yeah,
to I wrote an email. I still keep that email where I said, this is what I'm going to do for the farmers and the country, and there is a noble
yeah,
goal, and I don't have money to start the company. If you can
yeah,
contribute whatever you can, I know you guys don't have any saving,
yeah,
but you decide what you want to fund, and I'll make sure that if cropping makes money, you make money. If cropping goes down, you go down,
yeah.
right? So, and there is a risk. And to my surprise, I think at that time I pooled around $10,000,
Wow.
and with that capital, I started the company. So one room, one table chair, our college days PCs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there were two table. Yeah, so this was 10 by 10 room with one attached bathroom. That was the company that time.
And all these friends who pulled in roughly 7 lakh rupees of money became shareholders, the first shareholders in CropIn
Correct.
after you, the
So,
founder.
yeah, so we in 8 months we raised the capital. That was a good part. And the moment we put a formal structure, the first thing I did, I gave them everyone's shares in the company.
Okay, fantastic. And who was the first investor who believed in you outside your friends?
Yeah, there was a seed capital company called Seeders,
Yeah,
SEEDER, run by two entrepreneurs called Pallav Nadhani and Abhishek Rungta. They built their own
yeah,
organization organically.
yeah.
So they basically wrote the first check, which was a $40,000 at that time.
Okay,
And they said, Krishna, we don't understand the agriculture, but what you guys
yeah,
are set out to do is going to help the country and the farmer. It's a noble cause.
yeah,
And I'm sure the problem is very big. If you guys are able to crack it, this can become large. And here is the check. Show
yeah,
me what you can do. So
yeah.
that's how he believed, and it was a couple of discussion, and he wrote the check, and he was became the first investor. Yeah,
Got it.
and he still doesn't want to go out. Company is doing well, so we had a secondary opportunity, and he said
Yeah.
he wants to be there. So that's the belief he had, and we didn't turn him down.
And all these friends are also continue to be shareholder in the company along with seeders.
They are, but we are planning to give them an exit now. Let's say.
Okay.
Yeah. It's going to be a good
Good.
exit for them. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm so happy that the guys who believed me, and they, when they funded me, they said, we don't have any expectation. Even if you don't return
yeah,
money, it's okay. Right. So they wrote me back and they transferred the money. But today I'm
yeah,
so glad that, I learned one thing, accountability in GE, right? So we
yeah,
use so many terms, accountability. And I learned when I was taking this money from my friends, and one of the guy who gave me the money was my friend's father, who was about to retire, and he was giving his retirement
yeah,
money. That day, I felt
yeah,
accountability. He was giving me the check, and I saw there's an old man who is believing in me. I made a promise that I'll not let him down. I have to return this money
yeah.
back, and I'm so glad I'm in a position today to return, give them a better return of their money if the secondary happens. Yeah.
That's such a wonderful, I would say relationship because they believed in the company 10 years ago, right? And after 10 years, it just helps the ecosystem, belief in founders that if friends and family come together, it might result in a wonderful outcome over a long period of time for everyone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Totally agree. And then, in a
And
space where nobody has ventured, it's very
yeah,
difficult to get the venture money because there is no parallel
yeah,
to it. Today, a lot of investment happen because there is a parallel in US or somewhere it has worked
yes,
or in a similar market. But when you are starting something new which has got a lot of risk, There is a policy, the government risk, policy risk, climate risk, right?
Yeah.
And in those, the first one who takes the step takes the bigger risk, and the first one who writes
Yeah.
the check is taking the biggest risk, right? Because he believes that something will change, and this has to change for the good.
Yeah.
And you'll find some people there, right?
And tell us about the scale up journey from those two clients to how did you scale up after that, after having the first two clients?
Yeah, so agri-tech was quite slow in the early days because the people who were trying to adopt was early experimenters and large enterprise because they can bring change. This was a big change in the ecosystem. I mean, imagine a farm manager who has been using a farm diary, and he has a basic phone. He has never seen a touch phone, and internet. Right? I'm talking about
Yeah.
2010, right? Where
Yes.
2G was rarely found in the villages. Nobody had the touch phone. Touch phone was very expensive phones that time, and and they have never used the software, right? So there are
Yeah.
infrastructure challenges, there are ecosystem challenges, and there is the users were not so educated because the guys
Yeah.
who work in the farm has never interacted with the softwares, and also not very uh, tech educated, right? Now, when we were giving the training first time, the biggest question they used to ask the enterprise clients,
Yeah.
that how are you going to train my people? They never used
Yeah.
it, right? So whether it's going to work, how do I make it happen? And
Yeah.
and we always, people say when you are a startup, go to a smaller companies who can write a check quickly, take a decision quickly. And this was the
Yeah.
advice I got from many of my mentors, but I went against it. I went to the enterprise because in G I know to bring a change,
Yeah.
it's a big task, and that can only be done by the enterprise because they have gone through so many multiple changes in their organization.
Yeah.
And this will take time and patience, because if I fail with the small company, there's a bad name. But if I work closely with the large enterprise and if they are successful, that creates the story. And that's how we
Yeah.
chose enterprise as a route. We were okay to not have the revenue, but it really
Yeah.
paid off because they were able to bring the change. They brought all the farm managers. They said why we are adopting technology. You have been doing this work for last 10 years, 20 years, but pen and paper, here is the upgrade. Now you can go to your family, go to your friend and say, hey, I'm using software in the farm, right? This is how they were
Yeah.
motivating people. And when we were training the people on the smartphones, they were reluctant to touch the screen. They thought it will break, right? They were so
Yeah.
cautious because the touch phones were not there. And initial days, the 2G, they used to ask the question that how much it will cost for 1 month in terms of data, because data
Yeah.
was paid, right? And costly. So these are the questions which we get. So there are, let's say, 100 users. Okay, we have to buy 2G network for all these users, phones for all these users. So those were decisions they had to take, and then you have to train it. But adoption was very, very fast. What I saw was, if you make a good product with a good UI which understands the
Yeah.
user, the adoption will be very, very fast. And it happened. I saw people who were not even the 10th passed, let's say, who are the farm managers or field officers in the villages.
Yes.
They were able to use the software, right, on the phone.
Yeah.
And that's how it started, right? So so we went after the enterprise, and to to our success, almost all the large enterprise started working with us because they always dreamed of this kind of platform. And and then we wanted to go global. We had the aspiration. We raised our series A. We made changes in our product for going global, and we launched it in 2000. I think 17 we started doing the preparation, and 18 we launched. We went completely global, and to our surprise, we are in 52 countries today. Almost all the large enterprise are using our product not only in one country but in multiple countries. We manage around 8 million acres of production on our platform with 400 different crops and 9,000 different varieties from these 52 countries. And yeah, so the problems were same. We built a product in India, and it is serving global.
Wonderful. And how much time did it take you to get your first $1 million ARR milestone for
It took
CropIn?
long. It took long because, as I mentioned, the actually the ag tech picked up after 2015 when the Reliance was launched,
yeah,
right? I mean, at that time the
yeah,
smartphones were cheaper, internet was became cheaper not only in India but globally. So I think after
yeah.
that it took 1.5 year for us to reach to a million, and then after that, yeah, the story was
So
totally different. Yeah.
2016 mid, you
No, I
mentioned
mean,
that it took.
much earlier we were at $1 million, and yeah.
Okay. And but it was a long 5 year journey, that approx 5 year journey, what that took you to 1 million ARR. What kept your persistence? Like it's a very hard journey being an entrepreneur, and that too in a space where which is not known to investors. Now every investor knows Agritech
Yeah.
because of your success. It's not because like the success of players like you. But back then there was no success globally also in Agritech. So must have been really hard persisting. Did you think any time of giving up back then, from the period of 2010 2015?
No, to my surprise, also today we never gave up any point of time, because I'll tell you
Yeah,
why. We believed into the problem, and the
yeah,
problem was not imaginary, right? Problem was there. Everybody today recognizes it, right? Or today, or even 10 years back or 20 years back, there was a problem, and the digital was the answer to it, and we were getting our mini successes, right? So we got all the customer support. We saw the impact of this kind of software. We knew that it has to scale.
and you mentioned farm managers using mobile apps, right? Were the farmers also using mobile apps to enter crop data or anything like that on the
So,
farms, or
no,
was it mostly farm managers?
so the way the farmer is connected to the platform, they receive the actionable insight in their local language on their phone, because
Okay.
most of the farmer has a basic phones, right?
Yeah.
So if they don't have an internet, they receive it through the SMS. But we do have a lighter mobile application for the farmer, so that the company, the farm manager, and the farmer is all connected on the single apps, and they can
Okay.
interact. But it's going to come that all the farmers will have the apps, but today those percentages are very, very low.
So mostly the data is being entered by today by the farm managers
Yeah,
who are
and
working closely with, let's say, hundreds of farmers at any
yeah,
point in time.
yeah, it replaced the farm diary for the farm manager, but farmers are receiving all the right information on their phone.
And once the data has been entered by the farm manager, it goes throughout the enterprise and gets the data. You do various functions on the data in form of ML and
Yeah,
AI in various forms.
right. So the moment we know this is the farmer and this is a location and geotag of the boundary of the farm and the
Yeah,
crop on it, the system automatically start personalizing the insight for the farmer, that this is the 10th day
yeah.
of the sowing of this variety, and at this stage you need to put a vessel dose within next 3 years, and this is the quantity. There is a chances of a late blight, a pest in next 7 days.
Yeah,
Be cautious, right?
yeah.
So all the steps are guided to the farmer just based on his location of the farm, conditions around the farm, and then the crop he has chosen, and that is configured on the platform, right? So it's all the frameworks and information is packaged and delivered to the farmer in a manner way he can consume it.
So is it currently only text based, or there is also audio based information, like which you relay through audio message right now?
So it's a text based also. We can do audio also, but you know what we in our study what we have found that nobody picks the phone, and even
Yeah,
somebody picks the phone they cut because it's coming from some number. Correct.
yeah,
So in order to be more relevant, it's better to have a text base because it's going to be there on his
yeah,
phone,
yeah.
or giving apps which he can interact with.
And now, because of CropIn, all the various stakeholders have an access to the data, and they can benefit the farmer. For example, you mentioned the insurance companies have, so they can get a right insurance to the farm. That the banks have,
So
you
yeah,
know,
so they are
have,
part of our customer ecosystem. So banks basically, if they are trying to give a loan to the farmer, they want to understand the
yeah,
risk on that farm. And with all
yes,
the other product which we have called Smart Risk, which has a
yeah,
capability to detect the risk on the farm Not only that, but it
Yeah.
can also go into the past 3 years and tell the banker that on this farm these crops were grown. This is the economic value
Yeah.
of those crops. This how, whether it was healthy or not, how was the water stress, and prepare the complete risk report for that particular asset. And based on that, they do the underwriting. And for that, we don't have to even talk to the farmer. So let's say a
Wow.
farmer is applying for a two-wheeler loan or a tractor loan or a crop loan, and
Yes.
and goes to the bank and fill up the form and gives the, his land record ID. That land record ID is queried by the bank system in our system, and automatically the AI runs on those asset boundaries and give the complete report to them. So this is bringing down the cost of operation for the bank, because the
Yes.
servicing of small checks or small loans is not profitable for them. But this is opening up a new avenue for these guys. So we are not only working in India with the banks, we are also working in Southeast Asia, and did some work in US as well, where the banks are giving loans to the farmer. And this opens up the black box, right? So for us, it's a salary slip when we go for a loan, but for the farmer, there is no transaction history.
Yeah.
So, and we are providing this alternate data through the AI, right? And similarly for the insurance, right? We are working with the Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, where we are
Yeah.
providing the government the information on every 10 by 10 meter of a gram panchayat, that which crop is growing
Yeah.
there, what is the health and what could be the yield. Based on that, they will make a decision and make the payout faster. Today it takes even 8 to 9 months and even 12 months to give the money to the farmer, even if his crop has failed, because all the validation is manual. But with this kind of
Yeah.
system, you can make the payouts within a day or 15 days, when the farmer really needs the money. So this is how we are helping the insurance companies, government, and the bankers to understand the risk better and underwrite the risk, so that they can penetrate more. Because if that illumination of information is not there, nobody wants to venture into that risk. And that's why we build this AI product called Smart Risk for the bank and insurance companies.
That's something really transformational. For example, a day when majority of the 500 million farmers in India are covered by this product, they don't need to go to a zamindar, which can, have very unfair terms for a loan through which farmers have been screwed for centuries. Because now banks have access to this data, and banks uh, can do give loans at fair terms, and they understand the data from the farm. So
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's and we built this product just because we understood one thing. If the farmer
yeah.
doesn't have access to financing, nothing is going to change. If he has a
Yes.
surplus money, he can do experiment. If he has the money, he
Yeah.
can use your advice and put some right, input into his farm. But let's say if you give him a best of the best advice, and he doesn't have money to buy those chemical fertilizers or whatever growth enhancers, he will not able to do that. So we
So
felt.
then there's useless information, right? If you are just delivering information and the farmer cannot act on it, then farmer will say, "What use can I make of this?"
Yeah. So we felt that, if you really want to improve the agriculture ecosystem, the financing need to happen. And financing will only happen when you mitigate the risk or bring down the risk or open up the black box with more information, so that the bank and insurance companies can act upon that information and go aggressive in these markets. And it opens up a new market potential for them as well. Low ticket size, high volume, and still and then be profitable.
And today, how many of 500 million farmers of India are covered by CropIn? What percentage of them?
Oh, so in India we have, I think, 140 million farmers, and today we have close to 5 million acres of activities, farm activities is on our platform, which will
Yeah.
account to 1.4 million farmers.
Out of the total 500 million farmers you are mentioning?
One 140 million farmers in the country. So total, we have 140 million
Yeah.
farmers, out of which we have 1.1 million farmers where their farm is getting managed. But we have processed the whole country 10 by 10 meter for the
Yeah.
insurance and the lending perspective, and we have information about almost all the farms of 18
Yeah.
states of the country through AI.
And each farm is represented by a geotag in the ecosystem, which a farm manager
Correct.
places the geotag.
Correct. So that's the smart farm product. In the smartest
Yeah.
product, we have mapped 18 states in the country, and we refresh data of every plot of those 18 state every month. So that accounts to 80% of the farmland and the 80% of the farmer. But we don't have the information who is the owner of that farm. But we have
Yeah.
the information of the plot of that village, that what is getting grown and
Yeah.
what is the economic value and other stuff. So that need to be mapped, right? So in nutshell, we are impacting the 80% of the farmer in the country, and with the name farmers, where we have the name of those farmers, it's around 1.4 million farmers.
And what are some of the new products which you are currently developing right now?
So we are investing big time in the AI and ML, where we're building the
Yeah.
capability, and there are various products, right? So there is a product which helps the customer become more predictive and prescriptive. There is a product which works on sustainability, for example, carbon footprint,
Yes.
phenotyping, understanding the water intakes, how the water stress is playing role in a large region or a state or a district or
Yeah.
a country. What is the impact of deforestation? So that's a one product, right? The other product is for the banking, where we help them to underwrite a loan. Then there's a product for the insurance. Then there's a product for the commodity traders or for the businesses to forecast the production based on the condition today in that farm, right? And so there's a if we go into the product, there are at least 20 line items in terms of innovation, right from crop
And
detection,
that,
yield prediction, water stress, soil moisture. These are itself your big products. Irrigation scheduling, pest disease detection, not detection, prediction. That what pest you can expect in next 15 days with more than 90% accuracy. So without even it has happened, we can predict that this is coming.
and is there a provision for the farmer then to buy or get delivered pest control medicines or mechanisms, this data from your platform?
So so now we have a, if you look at our customer base, we have input companies, output companies, bank, insurance on our platform. Now we are
Yeah.
trying to connect the dots. If there is a farmer who needs seeds, somebody can supply.
Yes.
A farmer who needs chemicals, somebody can supply. A farmer who needs capital, there is a bank who can give the loan to them. So we are working on connecting these dots on our platform because we already have those customers and farmers on the platform. Today, every enterprise
And
works individually with their farmer base. Now we are trying to see if there is a connect. Can we connect the banking customer who is on our platform to a customer who is into the production and their farmer will need capital or insurance coverage, right? So we are exploring those avenue now.
Krishna, you have been able to make such a deep impact on the Indian agriculture ecosystem. If an entrepreneur has to learn from you five qualities, what would those be?
I think one quality is important, which perseverance, and the belief
Yeah.
in the problem which you are trying to solve.
Yeah.
If you are going after the big problem and it's real problem, the outcome will be always good. You know,
Yeah.
so that's what I believe in, and you have to, and when you believe and you have to work hard, I mean, perseverance is something which you require. I think rest of the things will fall in place.
And how if you can share your journey, how have you grown as a leader in CropIn and outside when people look up to you? What are the things? What are the mental models that you have assimilated over a period of time
See,
that helped you scale?
the biggest transition I see in myself uh, is I was complete tech guy and R&D guy, right? And
Yeah.
they and I played various role in the initial days, right? I played a role of a product manager. I single-handedly did the sales and implementation for straight 3 years for the client on the client side because we didn't have the large team. So I was the sales guy. I was also customer support guy who was traveling to the customer locations. I was the guy who was hiring, right? So I played various role, but today we have a large team, and I see myself transform into a from tech to non-tech, right? And more on the strategy side, more on the financial side. I understand the language of the CFO. So this is one thing you as a founder you are blessed to learn about every vertical because you have done that on yourself. For example, when you are hiring the first guy for your company sitting on a one room 10 by 10 and you are selling a vision of $1 billion, actually you learned HR. Because if you're hiring for some established company, it's easy to hire. But when you are hiring for a company where there is no employee and you are selling the vision of the company, you learned HR, art of HR, right? When you are selling the customer a vision without having a product and he bites into it, you learned the art of sale. Bec- he believed you, he believed in your product and the vision, and he ready to pay for that, right? So you learn on this job. So I think there is a various transformation you will see during your journey, and you have to step up for that, right? Either you step up or you bring those talent from outside to help you out.
And you have now people from GE joining CropIn.
Not really, but we have a couple of folks who come from G. Yeah, but not really.
But for your folks and friends at GE, it must have been a really transformational journey seeing you, you know, lead a sector in India, right? That's such a large sector with so many problems.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in touch with everyone. I'm in touch with my CIO who chose me for the leadership program, and I used to discuss with him. He's still in touch with me. I think he is now CIO for Hero Group in India. And yeah, I mean, it feels good.
So tell us about your journey, on getting chosen by the World Bank as the technology partner in the public-private partnership, and also getting funding from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation.
Yeah, our journey has been great. We are working with various partners, and Belinda Gate has been our Series B. In Series B, they participated in the round when they saw the impact, the scale of the business, right? So we were in Africa, we were in Latam. So the product from India is trying to create an impact in the life of the farmer, and our goals were same, the visions were same. When it matched, you get all the helping hand from those people. So I think, yeah, I mean, because of the impact we have created, the way we are delivering that impact, and because it is scalable, we attracted a lot of large enterprise and partners to work with.
And recently, you showcased a smart risk at the World Agri-Tech Summit held in London.
Yeah.
Tell us the experience of showcasing that.
Yeah, I think when we launched our product in 2018, the AI product, and it has got a
Yeah,
larger impact. So we decided to do a roadshow. So we did a roadshow in Mumbai, where we called
yeah.
the government, the policymakers, we called the bank and insurance companies, and we showed them how we can process the whole country. So actually, we processed 10 by 10 meter pixel. We divided the country, India as a country, into 10 by 10 meter pixels, and we tagged that pixel, that which what is the story of that pixel. In 2017, which crop was there? In 2018, which crops were grown? What was the health? What was the risk, and all those stuff, right? So we built a stack of data on every 10 by 10 meter, and we processed that within a week's time. And we said this is possible, right? We can use AI to transform agriculture, and this is how we can do it. And here is the outcome. And we wanted to demonstrate to all the stakeholders, and we brought them in a room, and we had this large program to do that, and it was well appreciated. And after that, we got so many orders for that product, and we did the same in London because we wanted to attract the international audience, that AI can work at a scale. We are not talking about doing a POC in a small 10 plots or 100 plots, or in one village. We are talking about how AI can transform agriculture for a country and can run at a scale. And we wanted to project that in in the UK event, and we were quite successful. We have so many programs. If you We are working with the Rainforest Alliance in Europe, who works in Africa on cocoa and coffee, and they gave us a opportunity to work with them in those countries with the AI products, right? And then we are working in Southeast Asia, we are working in Africa with these products, India, of course. Yeah. So this product is scaling very quickly in different markets because we have ability to build this model not only for India but also from different countries because we are present in 52 countries. So our models are learning about the crop from all those different climatic zone, different countries, and also have building the ability to transfer learn. Right. So how what they have learned from India on the paddy, it's also learning from paddy in Myanmar or Southeast Asia or in Nigeria. Right. So the models are becoming very very strong, and that's the edge CropIn has.
And right now, agri-tech business is booming in India. Like, for example, in 2019, uh, agri-tech startups in India, the data shows that they received $248 million in funding, growth in 300% for the same period previous year.
Mhm.
So, and right now, India hosts more than 450 startups in agri-tech in India. So, do you believe, like, the next 10 years will see a 10x growth in agri-tech just because of the revolution which Cropin started?
I'm a firm believer in that. Look at India as a sandbox where you can build products, you can experiment products because there's so much complex problems to solve here in agriculture.
Yeah.
And once you solve this problem, you can scale it globally, right? And and if you can build a product which can be used in India, trust me, it can be used anywhere else. And I see this Agritech is going to amplify in next 5 to 10 years, and there will be many products from India which will service the global market as well.
And was it like really difficult? And I would ask, is it still to sell to enterprises and government in India? Like, has the attitude changed over a period of time on adoption of technology? I'm talking about those enterprises and government sectors to which you sell to.
Yes, yes, they have changed a lot. When we were, interacting in early days, they see these things as a cost. Today, it's not a cost for them; it's a strategy for them to become digital. Right. So this transformation we have seen in enterprises, we have seen in mid segment, we have seen in government in development agencies, because whatever program they are forming, whether it's a climate change, climate resilient agriculture, or livelihood programs they are building with the farmer, I think the first thing they're also creating a budget for the technology and the platform, because they understand they can only deliver at scale when they infuse technology with their framework. Right. So I think adoption is increasing and it's going to exponentially increase in coming days.
So, SaaS entrepreneurs in India have said that, and I'm talking about most of them, not all of them, but that India, if you have to grow a SaaS business, you have to move out of India at some point in time because India is a poor monetization market. What's your take on it, Krishna?
I think that is changing. I think there was also a report, I don't remember, but from Axel or some venture capital in India, they did a good report where they're saying how SaaS is becoming relevant in India and people are buying SaaS products. Right. So what was there 5 years back, I think is a totally changed. There is appetite to buy SaaS product in India as well, and people are realizing why it is
Yeah.
important, because they are competing not only in India but also globally. There is a exchange of technology happening, and I think SaaS is bound to grow in India. I mean, from the market perspective, I don't have a numbers today, but I think it was a good report, which is eye opener that how the adoption in SaaS products are happening in India.
But do you think, currently in India there are 4 to 5 SaaS companies which are more than 100 mil ARR, which includes Freshdesk, Icertis, Drua, that have all moved to US because it was a lucrative market, and some part of their sales come in India, but most of their tech and customer support is in India.
Yeah,
There are uh,
but yeah, yeah. Go ahead, please. Sorry.
and there are roughly 50 companies in India, SaaS companies in India, who have this is I'm talking data from the Bain report which recently came.
Hmm.
50 companies, SaaS companies in India, which have $10 million ARR plus, and most of them are, you know, targeting US market or outside India developed countries. Do you think that's a possibility in future? We can see in India $100 million ARR company selling SaaS to Indian enterprises or government. Do you see that a future?
That is going to happen. So, while you gave me the example of these companies, but you can also look at some of the companies who are coming to India to sell, right? Like Zendesk,
Yeah,
Salesforce.
yeah,
We being a startup company, we have taken Salesforce product for all our sales guys globally, right?
okay,
And then there are there are many examples, right? So, for example, AWS is also
yeah,
where we pay on the meter, right? So if you build
yeah,
a good product which has a product market fit, I think the consumers are everywhere, and the and India is going to be a big market as well. While some of the companies has migrated to US because the market is mature, and in early
yeah.
days they will pay for the bills, right? But India on the digitally is getting much educated. I can see even the companies which has homegrown large companies, they are asking Bain to do a consulting and strategy on their digital roadmap. So they have already started investing into that, the traditional companies, right? That so that they need to be relevant in the market or with the competition. Now, with those kind of approach, you are going to consume a lot of digital product as well. So I think there is a lot of room for Indian SaaS market also to grow, and a lot of SaaS companies will have build their strategy on Indian market as well.
Thank you so much, Krishna. It's been a wonderful conversation with you. Thank you for sharing your experience, your insights from the last 10 years of building CropIn.
Thanks, Siddharth. Thanks, thank you very much.